Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Joni Young, and today I'm going to be showing you step by step how to paint this pretty waterfall painting. And today we're doing this on a 12 by 16 black primed canvas. I'll leave a link for the original smaller version of this painting I did. I think it was last year. It should pop up either here or down here, a little link. So you can have a look at that if you want. And yeah, I wanted to do a larger version today. And I'm going to begin with number 11 flat brush. I'm going to get it a little bit wet and I'll go over the colors right now. I'll list them down below in the description box for you. We've got Scarlet Red, Magenta, Cobalt Blue, Light Ultramarine Blue or Light Blue Violet, Titanium White, Lemon Yellow, Sap Green or Hooker's Green, Turquoise, Yellow Ochre, and Burnt Sienna. What I want to do is start at the very top here, and I'm going to take a little bit of my Light Blue Violet. Now you can make this color by mixing Cobalt Blue or Light Ultramarine Blue with some white, and take a little bit more. I want to cover up the black canvas I've got here. Okay, and then right below that I'm going to take a bit of turquoise. I'm not washing my brush off. And I'm just going to leave a little space, about ½ inch or so. And this is where our very first waterfall is going to start. And I'm going to just come down and just create a little underpainting here of a waterfall. So I'm going to leave that, and then I'm going to go down below and I'm going to add some turquoise. I'm going to go slide my brush back and forth, side to side. I'm going to scumble and leave some spaces here. Pick up some more. Now the water is going to be kind of, I wouldn't say really rough, but it's not going to be super calm either because all these little waterfalls are falling into this, so it's going to create a little bit of commotion. So I'm going to leave a little bit of spaces here just for some rocks. And I'm going to come on the side here with a bit of sap green, and I'm just going to tap a little bit. Tap a little bit up here. Just going to do a little bit of foliage in and around the side here with the sap green. Sap green and Hooker's green are really close, so you can use either one. And we will be adding some more of this, building it up with some of the lemon yellow. So this lemon yellow right here is going to make a nice pop and highlight. And let's go ahead and take a little bit more. This time I'm going to pick up some of my yellow ochre. I'm going to go right down here. And a little bit, so I've got it right on the bottom of my brush here. So this is meant to look like some rocks or sand in the water. And then we're going to have a few levels, right? So we've got a level that comes in here. I'm going to take more of the yellow ochre. And just pull and drop. So we have a little bit of color. Underneath the waterfall. And of course our next layer is going to be right here. Now this is just pretty much halfway, so that's a good guide for you guys. Just eyeball it halfway, come in here. We're going to cover this up anyways, but if you need line, go ahead, take a little bit more. Bit more of that yellow ochre. Maybe there's some rocks in here or some things that are vines and stuff that are just going to be hanging down. Remember, I always say it's nice to build up layers. So even though this might look a little bit messy to you, it's going to make sense later on. Now I'm going to take, I still haven't washed my brush off, some burnt sienna. See how I just tap into it on the bottom? Now I'm placing my hand over top like this, and I want it to look like rocks. So this is when it comes in really handy, having the black canvas underneath, because you instantly get the shadows and that contrast. Again, some little rocks in here. We're going to tie it in to this area here. You can add a little bit to the water, or the rocks in the water, I should say. And I'm going to pick up some more yellow ochre because I want this to be a little bit brighter over top of that. Okay, so I think I'm just going to add a few more little stones in here, and then I think that we're ready to start our next color. I wanted to show you guys in my last video with my big bright colorful sky. I'll try to leave a link in here if you guys haven't seen that one yet. I talk about a brush and it's called Zen, and I couldn't find it. I know it's probably hard for you guys to see that because it's a really mirror-like handle. This is a 1/4 inch and it's 6 millimeters actually, Royal and Langnickel. And what it is a filbert that's got these little spaces cut out of it. And I couldn't find this yesterday, and I started cleaning up my studio, and of course I found it right away. This is so cool because you can create instant palm leaves and waterfalls. And I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to demonstrate right now. This is the first time using this one. I used my even tail fan brush yesterday. So here's this one that I used yesterday. And here's a filbert version of that. So these are my new 2 must-have brushes that I'm recommending for you guys. Now you can get these at Michael's or any other fine art store. You can find them online. Sorry, I don't have a link at this moment, but if I remember, I'll try to add a link, find one for you guys and add a link to the bottom of the description area. Just got it a little bit wet. I'm going to pull into my titanium white. I'm going to start right off on the top here. And just like I thought, it works really, really well. So you can go over and make some of them thicker if you want, but it's really nice because you get these spaces. So you want to see the rock wall or whatever's behind the waterfall. You want to be able to see that. Okay, and then I'm just going to do a little scumble down here for the foamy bits of the water. And then of course we're going to come down here with some more waterfalls. Okay, so I want to use a different fan brush first. I want to do some cobalt blue underneath. I just got my brush a little bit wet, so I'm going to take some cobalt with my light blue violet. I don't want to overly blend. I've got a good amount of both on there. And I'm going to come from here and very lightly curve over. You just want to curve and pull. And then with a little bit more of my blue, because I want it to be a little bit more colorful right in here. I'm just going to add more blue and less of the light blue violet wherever I want it to be a bit brighter. Okay, so again, I'm just going to go right over Adding more of the light blue violet now. I want it to be brighter right up here. So pull and drop, pull and drop. And then we're going to have a little pool right here that those fall into. Then I'm going to take some white, a little bit of water, you see I'm just using the very end corner part of my brush where I want it to have just singular smaller ones. And then a few more like that. So we're just adding little highlights. And then I'm just gonna little taps like this. And you can soften with your finger a little bit like that. Now I think we can start with our other ones. So I'm going to wash my brush off and get the same cobalt blue, light blue violet again. And right here though, I'm actually just going to pull up for a bit more color. And then I'm going to come over here and start another level. Kind of reminds me of the beautiful famous waterfalls in Croatia. I can't remember what they're called. So see, these ones are going to come out, so I'm kind of pulling them on an angle. I'm going to take a bit of white right here, pull and drop, pull and drop. Remember, when you want them to be skinnier, then you can just turn your brush. There, look at how fun it is, and so fast. You can do this quite quickly, achieve all these waterfalls without too much effort. Let's go over this one. A little pool right here. Okay, let's bring our little pool spilling over the edge. You can just keep adding and adding multiple levels. I'll take my light blue violet, some cobalt blue, just pull and dust back and forth. We'll have it join up into the turquoise here. Take a bit of turquoise with some white and just lightly pull in here. Pull a little bit. Bit of that color in there. So again, the white and the turquoise. And I'm just going to tap to create that bit of foam at the base of these waterfalls. A little bit of white turquoise and the light blue violet. So I'm going to wiggle, wiggle, and then pull. Wiggle, wiggle, pull. I'm taking a combination of my cobalt blue and my turquoise. I'm going to add a little bit of a darker tone in here. Those colors together are really pretty. A little bit more of the blue. Make this kind of darker before I come in with my bushes. Pull and flick up. Try that again. And then we'll take a little bit of white here. I think I want to add a little bit more of my turquoise and white in here, just to brighten that up a little bit. And then a little bit more turquoise in here. A little bit of that color because it's just so pretty. I want to tie that turquoise in. It's a little bit fluffy looking over here. Some spray. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to another brush now. I think I'll use my even tail and show you guys, demonstrate that one. So just getting some of the white and the turquoise. So see how you just get those nice spaces in between. And then we can do the same with the blue violet. Blue violet and the cobalt blue. So I'm taking turquoise with my light blue violet. I'm going to do a light layer right over that rock, making it look like the water's over top of it. And then little highlights here. Yellow ochre and white. And I'm just going to add some little golden highlights. A little bit more white right in here. And you know, you kind of get that ruffly looking type of waterfall where it kind of breaks apart and it looks, so you get those little breaks in spaces. Then all you do is just shake a little bit and let off on your brush, and that's how you do that. I'm gonna wash my brush off and go back to the cobalt blue and the turquoise. I'm gonna come right in here and add a little bit more depth. Instead of just using black, I'm gonna play on the color a little bit and just add that cobalt blue. And then again, with some of the turquoise, we can add some depth in here. If you want it to look like it's a little bit deeper in some areas or there's some shadows. And this is a really, really easy painting, and it's so enjoyable to create, and I hope that you guys are liking this as much as I am, and you're going to let me know how yours turned out. So share them. Oh, I hope you guys do. You guys can share them with me like you always do on Instagram. That's the best place. Just gonna do a few more little waterfalls in here. More drops like that. Okay, so now it's time to come in with the foliage. So I'm going to need a mop brush. I've got my large one here, and it's just a large stipple type of brush. Any mop brush, stipple brush of your choice you can use. Okay, so here's another one. This one's more round, this one's more of an oval. So I'm going to start with my sap green. And I'm going to tap a little bit more here. You remember at the start, I had added a little bit in there. I'm going to leave a space for the black canvas to peek through, so we have a nice amount of contrast. And then I'm going to come right down in here and have some foliage kind of spilling over, have something going on there, as well as here. And I'm going to make it a little bit denser and use more paint in this area here. And I'm just going to pull along the side like that. So maybe it's kind of reflecting in the water a little bit. Okay. And a little pull along the edge there. Alright, so now I'm not going to get my brush wet, but what I like to do is just brush off the excess paint on a towel, and then I'm going to take a little bit of yellow, a little bit of yellow ochre. Alright, without blending too much, I'm going to start tapping in. Actually, I've got to take this out. This little bar is in the way. And I'm going to start very lightly adding some bits of light right there. And I'm going to be a little bit thicker with it. Like have it spill over the edge, right down there. Isn't that pretty, guys? And you can achieve this just as easily and quickly by following these simple techniques. You just need a little mop brush. Now if you don't have a mop brush, you can do this with a filbert, or you can also do it with a fan brush. So don't ever let your lack of brushes or colors hold you back from learning how to paint. I want you guys to just use whatever you have and just paint. As long as you're painting, you're learning and you're creating something, and that's good for you. You always want to be creating. It's healthy for the mind and the spirit. Keep your brain active, especially when we're going through trying times right now, like we are with COVID, and people are worried about it, and you just gotta get your mind off of it. Okay, so I'm done with this brush now. I'm really pleased with how this is coming together. I'm gonna add the finishing touches. It's still gonna be a few minutes yet, you guys. We're not done. So I've got this tiny one right here. And I'm gonna take a little bit of white and a little bit of my lemon yellow. So I've got a little bit like this. And I'm just gonna add some extra sunlit bushes up here. So just a little highlight on top of those other ones, but you're always leaving, whenever you're adding a highlight, you're always leaving a little bit of each color that was on there before. Okay? Just a little bit like this. I don't want to add too much in here because we're going to be adding some sun rays, but we can definitely add a little bit more here. And then I'm going to have to dry this off. So a little bit more light in here. We know this is going to dry a bit darker, right? I kind of sound like a broken record. Every video I'm telling you guys, you have to beware that your paint's going to dry a little bit darker. I'm just going to take a little bit more of that light blue violet. Pull it in there because I just think that looks so pretty. A little touch of blue violet next to the turquoise is always really complimentary. Now I just went over a little bit of that yellow ochre, so I'm going to pick up some more here and just very carefully bring that back. Just a little bit like that. Okay, so I do have some magenta and some scarlet red for a few little colorful bushes. Just gotta pick out a little paintbrush now. So I think I'll just take, this one's called a shader brush, and it's a number 6. Yeah, it's a number 6. Daler and Rowney. And I know there's going to be a glare on this, but you guys can see. I'm going to start with some magenta, and I'm going to add tiny little dabs, just very impressionistic, little tiny dabs in here. I'm creating my own little oasis where I'd like to be. I just add little flowers wherever I want. I encourage you guys to do the same thing. Create your own little worlds. It doesn't have to be an actual place, right? It's the beauty of painting and creating art. Taking a scoop of the scarlet or the crim, actually yes, it is scarlet red. I'm using this one, by the way. I'll show you guys the brands that I'm using. I've got Arteza Scarlet Red, Arteza Yellow Ochre, Burnt Sienna. This is the magenta I'm using. It's Grumbacher. It actually is called Violet, but it's Same thing as Magenta. Yeah, I just wanted to show you guys those quickly. I'll show you the other brands. It doesn't matter what brand you're using. They don't, sometimes it does. I mean, there are some brands that are better than others, but like I said before, don't let that hold you back. If you don't have the same, just taking a little bit of burnt sienna here. A little bit of the violet. I'm not crazy about that, so I'm just gonna wipe that off. But yeah, so don't worry too much. I think a lot of people that are beginning to paint get too focused on the paints and the supplies that they have, thinking they have to have the exact same number of brush and brand of paint, and really you're just making it harder for yourself to learn. I want you to just paint with what you have. Obviously pick up more colors here and there, but as long as you're just painting, learning the techniques, you've got a basic set of, you know, 5, I've got a video for 5 top brushes, must-have brushes. Just start with that. Just have 5 brushes and have your primary colors if you can afford to get all the other ones. And anyways, I'm gonna dry this off, guys. Before I do though, I'll let this sit a little bit. It'll just dry while I'm talking. I'm gonna show you the other colors I'm using today. So I've got, this is a color by Felix Paints, Lemon Yellow. So that's what I used up in here. And I've got Grumbacher Hooker's Green Hue, Turquoise Liquitex Basics Acrylics. I think I showed you guys RT's Ultramarine Blue. Maybe I didn't, I'm not sure. My white, I've got Titanium White, and this is Winsor & Newton. And I'll be back in just a couple minutes. I'm going to take a few minutes to dry this off, and then I'm going to pull some pretty sun rays in there and we'll be all done. So sorry guys, I just realized right here that this is drying really dark and I want to have a little highlight on there. So I'm going to go to my small filbert Zen brush with the little splits in it. And I'm just going to take a little bit more of my blue violet and some white. And so sometimes you have to go back and add a few more highlights and details as the paint dries, right? So just the same, little bit of white down there at the base. Okay, I always get nervous doing this, but I have to know if it's dry, and it is. So we're just going to do 2 or 3 sun rays here. I'm going to use my flat brush, number 11 again. This is just the perfect brush for painting sun rays. And I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow and some white. You want your paint to be translucent. You want it to have just enough water in it that it's going to be see-through, and then it's going to flow really easily out of your brush. So I'm going to start right up here, and I'm going to bring my sun rays to somewhere down in this area. So I'm just going to go for it. 2, 3. I'm going to wash the paint out of my brush. I'm going to go back very lightly. Soften this up, make it look kind of fuzzy. And then I want to kind of make this a little bit more indistinct up there. Okay, so I'm really happy with this overall. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this and learned a lot. Don't forget to hit that subscribe down here and like this video, leave a comment, all that stuff. I appreciate it, guys. It really helps get my channel and my art out into the world more through the algorithm of YouTube. My goal is to get as many people around the world painting more, creating more, getting more inspired and motivated. So help me reach that goal, and whatever country you're from, leave it in a comment below. I love to know how many different countries and how many people are watching and enjoying these videos and learning from them. So have a wonderful day, stay healthy and happy, and I'll see you guys very soon in another video. Bye!